Hello everybody, we are doing a little bit of a controversial video today, and that is going to be 3 teams that I don't want to see win the Stanley Cup this season. Now before we start, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new to the channel, if you're new to the sport, whatever the case may be. Hoping to do this as a full-time career and would love to have you here along with me for the journey. Anyway, we're going to get into this video, and I wanted to say a few things. It's going to be a little different. I did a 5 teams I'd want to win where I thought they would have realistic chances, and then that was kind of the case there. This is a little different in the sense of these teams don't necessarily have to be contenders. They just have to be teams that I don't want to see win it, and then they also can't be somebody like Tampa Bay or Colorado that's won it recently. And by recent, I would probably say within the past 2 or 3 seasons. So yeah, just going to be 3 teams I don't want to see win the Stanley Cup this season, and I'll explain my reasoning for that. We'll see if your team's on here as well. But anyway, let's get to it. And the first team is going to be the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, a lot of people know I'm a big Columbus Blue Jackets fan, and I would say this didn't factor into it as much. I just think in general, Pittsburgh has been so good for so long, and Malkin and Crosby and Letang already have 3 Stanley Cups. I personally don't want to see them win another. I mean, this has been one of, if not the most stable franchise since 2005, 6, whatever case may be there. They have been really good. They've been able to make 4 trips to the Stanley Cup final. They've been able to be a really good team that has beat other really good teams consistently over the years. Mike Sullivan came in when they were kind of at a rocky spot, and they just went on to win back-to-back cups. All around, I'm not one of those guys that is hopping on the train where it's like, I'd love to see them get one more cup. They've got 3. They have got 3, and they're relatively recent. So I'm not for it. And at the end of the day, Pittsburgh has had the Steelers. They've won 6 Super Bowls. You've had the Penguins that have won 5 Stanley Cups. The Pirates, I'm not going to fight you there. They have not been great in a while, and they haven't won a World Series since, 1979 or something like that. Regardless, the case is Pittsburgh has been very good, and I am not jumping on that Sidney Crosby bandwagon to try to see him get another cup to close it out. He's had more than enough. As for another team here, this one's going to be controversial, the Seattle Kraken. And why do I not want to see hockey's newest team be the Stanley Cup champion? There's a few reasons. One, they are rivals with the Vancouver Canucks. I think that thing really got hyped up a little bit. As of right now, there's not a big rivalry, but I think from Seattle's, and they're really trying to pump in this rivalry that I don't feel like exists just yet. On top of that, there's some other factors. They raised that 1917 Stanley Cup banner. Wasn't your team over 100 years ago? I just think that maybe they would have been better off trying to build a new hockey identity, and in a lot of ways they have, but at the end of the day, that was really cheesy. I mean, imagine if your city was like, you know what, we're going to decide to go with a team from 100 years ago that has no ties to us, and we're going to raise their banner because we're Stanley Cup champions. The city is a city of champions. I mean, technically yes, but at the same time, over 100 years. So, they've got some guys on there that I wouldn't mind seeing win a cup, but in general, this fan base has not had to suffer as much as other fan bases have as well. Yeah, they had a bad year, beginning of the year, boo-hoo. But, they are going to be a good team in the future. They've got Beniers, they've got Wright. They are going to be fun. So I'd say for a little bit, just suffer through a season or 2 more before we really just kind of cut you some slack there. So that's Seattle. As for the final team, we are going to be going with the Vegas Golden Knights. Not too shocking here. I think a lot of people view them as one of the biggest villains in the NHL. Vegas is a team that came right in with their island of misfit toys. It was a really good team, I thought, when they came on into the league, but they just took it by storm, went to the Stanley Cup final, lost to Washington in 5, and then really just have been able to pump in quality top-tier talent through trades, through whatever means necessary. Yes, they've given up a lot of assets, but in general, they've been one of the better teams in the league since they've arrived. They've been in big moments, hockey-wise, and they haven't really had to suffer a lot. I mean, again, last year was the first season they missed the playoffs, and they barely missed the postseason. They've been, just absolutely treated to a beautiful show, top-end talent, exciting moments, one series away from winning the Stanley Cup within their first decade. Most teams or at least teams that have suffered a lot, has had to suffer for like 20 plus years or more. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Plus, Vegas really does a good job, some of their players, of getting under the rest of the league's skin. And that's why I gotta say Vegas is probably the biggest one out of these three. I would rather have Pittsburgh win 2 in a row than see Vegas win 1, just because of the villain persona they've built up. But I will say the fan base has been very exciting, and all these fan bases are great as well. Nothing against them. Just for me, I would be better off mentally if they didn't win a Stanley Cup this season. What are 3 teams, though, that you would like, or not like, I guess I should say, to win the Stanley Cup this season, and why? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night, and Eagle of Hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.